Good afternoon and welcome to the 2019 Fall St. George's University White Coat Ceremony. I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Richard Olds, President, Dr. Glenn Jacobs, Provost, Dr. Brendan LeGrand, Vice Provost for Institutional Advancement, Dr. C.V. Rao, Dean of Students, Dr. Marios Lucas, Dean of Basic Sciences, School of Medicine, Dr. Neil Olson, Dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Callum McPherson, Dean of Graduate Studies, faculty, staff, specially invited guests, parents, students, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sri Batu, a proud St. George's University School of Medicine alumna and your Master of Ceremonies today. I currently practice palliative medicine at Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville, Florida. Previously, I worked at the Cleveland Clinic and the Veterans Administration practicing physical medicine rehabilitation. Being part of graduate medical education has always been a rewarding aspect of my career. It is an incredible honor to welcome all the incoming students to this rite of passage in your medical education. I remember being where you are 16 years ago and wondering about my future. I want to tell you that choosing St. George's University School of Medicine was one of the best choices I made, because while I learned so much from the faculty and my fellow students, I also developed life experience from living in a new country and adapting to new experience. I was one of the students in Grenada when a Category 5 hurricane named Ivan hit, and I saw leadership, diplomacy, and friendship like I have never seen since. I continue to use the life lessons I learned here every day in my career. Whenever I speak about my education at St. George's University, I call it one of the greatest adventures of my life. Today marks the beginning of your great adventure into medicine. As a physician, you are responsible for healing the mind, body, and spirit. As an alumna, my words of wisdom to you are: 1, treat each of your future patients as individuals. Get to know them and find out what is important in their lives. 2, help guide patients to make medical decisions based on their values, not your values. 3, practice safely and ethically, pause and seek help when needed. 4, learn from everyone in your healthcare team. Diversity of thought strengthens your understanding. 5, have faith that your traits of passion and grit, which brought you to Grenada, will help carry you through your career. And lastly, 6, but most importantly, err on the side of compassion when you are making difficult decisions. Now I would like to share with you a brief history of this ceremony. In 1993, the Arnold P. Gold Foundation created the White Coat Ceremony at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons to promote humanism in medicine. With guidance from the Gold Foundation, St. George's University School of Medicine initiated its own White Coat Ceremony in 1996, long before many other medical schools. In 2003, the Gold Foundation founded the Gold Humanism Honor Society, an international society dedicated to the promotion of humanism, professionalism, and ethics in medical practice and education. Dr. Arnold Gold passed away in 2008 at the age of 92. He was an international advocate for humanism in healthcare. We are honored to have hosted Dr. Gold and his wife Sandra as keynote speakers for our spring 2005 White Coat Ceremony. SGU's chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society is based in the Bioethics Division of the Department of Clinical Skills and supported by the Dean of Medicine's office in New York. Our chapter established the Humanitarian Student Organization in 2009, through which basic science students continue to promote humanism across the SGU and Grenadian communities. Chapter members are nominated by their peers and inducted during their clinical training when they participate in an ongoing chapter project. Now it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Glenn Jacobs, Provost of St. George's University.
Good afternoon. Okay, let's try that again. Good afternoon. There we go. I would like to welcome all of you to St. George's University and the island of Grenada. A special word of welcome to all the parents, family, and friends present here today. Students, I am very happy to welcome you here in person. I will not be addressing you that often. The next time I probably speak to you as a group will be during your graduation. Yeah, you'll be amazed how quickly that'll be. So you have come here with great intellect. You have and will gain lots of knowledge while being at SGU. But I trust that during your time here, you will also develop your wisdom. Now, John Isso, best-selling author, explains it so well in his book, The 5 Secrets You Must Discover Before You Die, and says, wisdom is different and fundamentally more important than knowledge. Knowledge is the accumulation of facts, whereas wisdom is the ability to discern what matters and what does not matter. So unless we can discover what really matters, we cannot find the true meaning in life. So I will encourage you to take time to explore Grenada and to get to know this great community. I'm also very much looking forward to interacting with you during the barbecue on Sunday. So it is now my pleasure to introduce to you the President of St. George's University, Dr. Richard G. Olds. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Well, it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the university to our beautiful campus, and a special welcome to all the parents and friends of the graduates, and of course the whole meaning of this, congratulations to the class of 2023. Now, on this occasion, the White Coat Ceremony, I have some good news and bad news for you. First, the bad news. In a few minutes, you're going to walk on the stage and you're going to put on that white coat, and you won't be one bit smarter. In fact, you won't know anything more about medicine than you did before you put that coat on. But the important aspect is that once you don that white coat, you take on a great deal of the responsibilities and privileges associated with being a healthcare professional. As a society, we give very special credence to medical students, particularly, and healthcare professionals in general. We're allowed to hear the most intimate secrets of our patients, share their pain. We are allowed to examine their bodies. We are present during some of the most traumatic times in their lives. This is a rare and special privilege that comes from being a healthcare professional. So the minute you put on that white coat, you carry the responsibility to carry yourself in a professional way, to be thoughtful, to be listeners, to basically carry on the best traditions of being a physician. Now, I myself am a physician. In fact, in contrast to the provost, you may well see me because I teach tropical medicine. I'm a tropical disease specialist. And I have been on the faculty teaching parasitology at 6 U.S. medical schools before I came here. But I spent much of my time working in developing countries. And during that time, I noticed a very interesting thing. Many countries, particularly in South America and in Asia, have among their national heroes physicians. Now, I have to tell you, I'm hard-pressed when I think about the United States to think of a single physician that would rise to national hero status in our own country. And I hope that's not because physicians in the United States are somehow not nearly as connected to the populations they serve as many physicians are in developing countries. Now, let me use an example from my own background. For over 30 years, I worked in the island of the Philippines. The national hero of the Philippines is Dr. Jose Rizal. Now, I have no idea whether Dr. Rizal was a good doctor or not. He is not the national hero of the Philippines by being a good doctor. Dr. Rizal spoke out against the atrocities committed by the Spanish occupation of his country for 400 years, and for that he was put in front of a firing squad and shot. Now, I don't expect any of you to stand in front of a firing squad for your principles, but it does point out that physicians have often taken up more than just the responsibility for the individual patients, for their families, but to speak out for their communities, their countries, and yes, for what's best in the world. Now, I think you will all learn in the 4 years here to be great doctors. We have wonderful faculty. We have great teaching facilities. I have no doubt that 4 years from now, when I greet you again, you will all be extremely well trained physicians. But I hope among those graduates, perhaps there will be a few heroes. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Olds. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Anthony Tobiah, our keynote speaker. Dr. Tobiah is a professor of psychiatry and clinical professor of internal medicine at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson School of Medicine. He earned his medical degree from St. George's University School of Medicine in 1996 and completed postgraduate training in internal medicine and psychiatry. He has embraced clinical practice in academic medicine, serving in leadership capacities in education and consultation psychiatry. Please join me in welcoming my fellow alumnus, Dr. Anthony Tobiah.
Starting my timer just to make sure I don't go over today. Thank you. University leadership, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, family, friends, and foremost, my unconventional conventionalists, the 2023 St. George's University class. Welcome. Today, I want to welcome everyone as well as enlist you in a mission, a common mission. It was 23 years ago this summer that American Airlines jet landed at the Bishop International Airport. And I started my career as an M1 at St. George's. At that time, I was very homesick. And only a few short weeks after I began my curriculum, my fall semester in my M1 year, my girlfriend at the time visited me. And in remembering this, I know for a fact that if she had not come and visited me, if I did not get the support from my family that I did, that I would have visited her on her island. I would have visited her at her home in Massapequa Park, and I am sure that just 2 years later, we would have become engaged in Colonial Williamsburg nonetheless. We would have gotten married a year later at St. Rosa's Parish in Massapequa, and we'd have 3 kids, and we'd have a great life. But I know for a fact that I would not be here before you today, because as an alum, I know that if she had not come visit me, I would not have graduated from St. George's. The people that are around you today, your family, your support, and now you could add on to that your peers, those that are literally sitting shoulder to shoulder with you, are the ones that will inspire and will be the ones that ensure that you reach your goal to become a physician and a proud graduate of this terrific university. Along those lines, I recall that when I was here back in 1992, that I had 6 very, very close friends that ensured my success with regard to my medical student career here at St. George's. The 7 of us stuck together through thick and thin, and one of us really struggled. I could tell you that 6 of us graduated at the top of their class, and only one, the one staring at you right now eye to eye, finished in the bottom 20% of his class. None of my friends failed their formative OSCE. None of my friends failed their step 2. Only one of us did. It was during that time that I could see nothing more in front of me other than those tasks that I needed to complete to ensure that I would meet my lifelong goal of becoming a physician. During this time, several things happened that, especially in retrospect, I absolutely know that I would have never have made it here if not for the likes of those 6 other very close-knit friends, the peers, my fellow students at St. George's. After I learned that I failed my summit of OSCE, one of my friends actually skipped or slipped off her clinical rotation at St. Joseph's University Medical Center and visited my wife in her home, reassuring her that she, as well as the others, had my back and that I would not miss out. And surely she was right. Kelly didn't even tell me that she would do such a thing, and I only learned that she did when Roseanne told me a day or two later that Kelly had visited her and was really worried about you and that she had your back. And how are things getting along and how are things going for you back at St. Joe's? Along those lines, those kinds of memories are memories that I will never forget. It's also noteworthy that while we continue to keep in touch with each other, we actually do play fantasy football as part of a 10-person league now, with 7 of us making up the core, the majority of the fantasy football league. The ribbing and the camaraderie and the trash talking continue till this day. Our draft is literally within a week. It's next Wednesday. And I had invited all of them, the 6 others, here today to take part in this monumental occasion, this being the first time that I'm back in 27 years. Unfortunately, their schedules did not permit. I actually reached out via text, via phone call on some of them, who reassured me that they would not be able to make it today. And my third attempt to convince them to come back and revisit our university, I told them that if they didn't come, I would kind of drag their names through the mud, and they'd have to be very careful to, again, renege on my invitation. Unfortunately, they did. So I do need to name them by name, first and foremost because these are the very people that are no different than the people occupying this room today. Those you will rely on to ensure your success, not only as a medical student, but as a future physician. They are Carl Spector. They are Darren Blumberg, Joseph Perno, Todd Schneider, Robbie Dobrinsky, and Kelly Dobrinsky. I would make up the 7th and final one in our very intimate, close-knit group. I'll leave it up to you on how you would want to receive that group. Are they the next generation that will be populated by the people in this very class? An incredibly close-knit group that after graduating, you identify with regard to having participated in that very same ceremony, August 30th in 2019, or are they the perennial losers in the Jerry Garcia Memorial Football League? As unlike school, I have been reigning champion for 8 out of the 15 years. And they allow me to have my name mentioned in the same sentence as Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. Again, I will leave that up to you. After graduating, the journey didn't stop. There were constant reminders with regard to how valuable it is to rely on your peers, your mentors, to surround yourself with wonderful, wonderful people. Now maybe the white coats being a little bit longer, where in 1996 I was matched at West Virginia University in Morgantown as part of a combined med-psych program. Again, just upon recently graduating, we were at a welcoming picnic hosted by the internal medicine chair. And at the time, I saw a very familiar face. It was one of my classmates who matched in the IM program. The first thing Sanjeev Nanda came up to me and reminded me was how excited he is, not only to start his residency, but start his residency as part of a program that had a night float, and how he looked forward to 3 years of not taking overnight call. When you're on long call for WVU, for IM, you take admissions up to 8 o'clock p.m., and then a shift comes on and assumes all clinical responsibilities through the night, alleviated at 8 a.m. the next morning. What a relative walk in the park that would be when compared to being on Q3 24-hour call. That's how excited he was. This was the first time I ever heard the words night float. I really was unsure what he was talking about. So he looked at me and he asked why I would match at WVU without knowing night float. Why would you ever come here? Well, being part of MedPsych, I had very limited choice. First and foremost, I had been recruited by a physician named Don Fiddler, who used to be a significant component of the behavioral science module taught at St. George's. And I met Dr. Fiddler here, and he strongly and avidly recruited me to WVU. And now here I was. So I told my wife about this idea of night float and how awesome this is going to be. And she reminded me that I had an unopened envelope on the kitchen counter that I probably should look at now that it's June 30th. So once we got home, I looked at that envelope, opened it up, and I was mildly surprised to see that the name next to Night Float, July, the very first month, was mine. So I turned to my wife and said, we got to pack up, we got to go back to Jersey because I can't do this. They expect me to have a coat pager on. Do they understand that it's still the 30th of June? I'm officially a medical student still. I know I graduated, but I'm still officially a medical student. They're going to hand over the code pager to a glorified medical student the first day of July. Well, I was due to present to what would be the West Wing, the 9th floor of Ruby Memorial Hospital, where I would meet my fellow intern, also on night float, as well as an upper-level resident who would supervise us. Other than that, being that we had to be there for 7 o'clock, the first thing that came to mind is I'm going to get there for 5. When Roseanne reminded me that therefore I would miss dinner, we would make an early dinner to make sure I get there on time, I assured her that I had zero appetite and do not worry about dinner. I'll probably be home in a couple hours, and like I said, have the bags packed and pointed east because we're going to head back to Jersey. I'm standing up there at 5 o'clock, 5:05, in Ruby Hospital, and in walks the supervising PGY2 in internal medicine. Her name is Kim Hunkley. So I introduced myself to Kim as one of her interns. She told me she heard a lot about me, shook my hand in welcome, and to this day I could swear that she had a halo around her head when she entered that conference room on 9 West. Suffice it to say, and very fortunately so, that Kim happened to be scheduled for 5 of my first 6 rotation months along with me. So while she guided me and mentored me and got me through the first 30 days of my residency on that night float service, so too did she ensure my success in the 4 of the following 5 months as well. In MedPsych, after a half year, you switch over to the alternative program. So starting January 1st, 1997, I was in the psychiatric facility. And since it was the first time I actually stepped foot inside Chestnut Ridge Hospital, I found 2 things out very, very quickly. First was obvious that my fund of knowledge was far behind, literally 6 months behind any of my peers. They understood the diagnostic criteria of schizophrenia, they understood detoxes, and I knew very little of this. The other part of it, which perhaps is not quite as important, but certainly was recognizable to me, was that I was socially behind the 8 ball as well. They knew each other by their first name. I had no idea what it was to put a name to a face. It was literally the first day I was saying hello to them. They had plans where they would go usually on a Tuesday for lunch or meet up on a Wednesday for dinner, and if best, I was a third wheel. So towards the end of February, that same Don Fiddler approached me. He was the clerkship director at the time, and he told me that after the conclusion of every clerkship, he would have medical students back to his house for a thank you and a dinner and a movie. And he said there was always an open invite for residents, and please take a guest. Hopefully we'll see you and Roseanne on Friday. So I went home, and I told Roseanne, I said, listen, we have to get a babysitter for Friday. I am socially inept, which she quickly interluded. Oh, sweetie, I know that. I told her, that's not what I'm getting at. Really, I don't know what's going on with regard to the residency training program. I need to connect to some people, connect to some of my peers. We're going to go to a dinner and a movie on Friday. We ended up going to Don Fiddler's house. He had a nice spread of Chinese food, and we watched the 1979 sci-fi horror classic, Alien. Now, I had seen Alien way back in '79, and I really hadn't watched it since, so I was pretty excited to rewatch this Ridley Scott classic. And afterwards, Don guided a conversation, facilitated a discussion about what Alien is really about. Now, I don't have much time left, so I can't, as I normally do behind a podium, pimp different people in this auditorium about what they think Alien is really about. But other than to say that Don's interpretation was that this film was about an infant's wish to crawl back up in its mother's womb and destroy her ova so as to remain the only child. I thought for a second, and I realized, I think my knowledge base in psychiatry is far below what I thought it was. At the time, I even probably overrated that. And boy, I don't know what's going on here. My wife and I had an awkward silence on the ride home, not sure really what to make of this whole situation, but after talking about it, after seeing some aspects of Don Fiddler's view, Roseanne and I were consistently the first to arrive at subsequent movie nights and always the last to leave. One of the reasons why I allude to Don Fiddler is not only because all of this began at St. George's with him here as a visiting professor, but that very idea that inspired him to teach, the narrative, albeit fictional, is something that we have brought to Robert Wood Johnson Medical School in terms of curriculum reform, where since 2009 we've been doing something very similar. We've ensured that Don Fiddler's mission is alive and well with regard to enthusiastic and creative teaching in the field of psychiatry. Since 2009, we've had a couple of efforts with regard to where to go from here. The first has been largely completed in that while this was initially proposed for a medical student curricula, we have since ensured that it be expanded to other levels of teaching. And today, we have pop culture-based curricula in K through 9, high school, undergraduate, graduate, of course, medical school where it all started, residency training, and not only in psychiatry, but other residencies as well. And then finally, continuing education, where professors go to Broadway, watch a play, watch a show, watch a musical, and then following the event, have a talkback session with different staff, performers, and even the producer that our CME office awards a certificate for. One of the reasons why I wanted to make sure I specifically mentioned the continuing education effort project with regard to RWJ Medical School is because September 12th, the show we're going into the city to watch, to receive 3 CME for, happens to be the one that has been written and produced by Don Fiddler himself. So I'm really excited to get back and get there as this really does come full circle. The other thing I wanted to briefly mention is the other way this is getting expanded, and that is, with all due respect to the levels, the different levels of teaching and education, so too do I want to offer it to medical schools other than Robert Wood. And through social media, we can easily get this done. And I could bet everybody in here knows the next thing I'm going to say out of my mouth in terms of what school I would prefer to be the first to partner with regard to an educational mission like this. So at this time, I'm going to ask you to take these out. I'm going to be a little unconventional. Everybody's already asked you to put them away, power them down, log off, airplane mode, all of the above, power them back up, and get on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, if you sign up, that would be awesome. If not, there is email that anybody at St. George's can get you with regard to contacting me directly. Follow me, @ATobiaMD. We're going to use the hashtag SGUSO mission. Everybody who uses that hashtag will be part of a conversation that is going to be a big-time boost to a project that your classmates have already started. There's a current M3, a current M4, Sahil and Tim, who have already started this process in coordination with psychiatric advisors at major medical institutions up in the Northeast. And you are going to be the next wave to make sure that their trailblazing is going to be launched into the next stratosphere. @ATobiaMD. MD as in what you will soon have after your name after 4 short years. So I'm right about the 15-minute time limit, so I want to start to close. A couple of final thoughts. Number one, inasmuch as we infuse popular culture, I have made double-digit references to different areas of pop culture since I've been up here. And if I could do that in 15 minutes, just imagine what we can do over a year-long longitudinal curriculum. Number two, the idea of me arriving back here 27 years to almost a month, actually it is the month, it is still August. I had a late start with regard to my M1. That's another story. Is not lost with me because just in a week, Stephen King's It will premiere Chapter 2, and it just so happens to be the same exact cycle in terms of number of years with regard to his sinister character, Pennywise the Dancing Clown. That is not lost with me either. Though also the fact that this happens to be August 30th, the date that memorializes Wes Craven, another co-producer, in a way, of the very curriculum we have. It's something that's awful special, too. And while I think on the surface it's fairly obvious that the curriculum that Wes Craven helped create at Robert Wood has everything to do with sleep medicine, there's another layer to it that if you reach out and connect with me, I'll be more than happy to share with you, but they're going to kick me off the stage in a matter of seconds now, so we'll have to table that. One final thought. With regard to where you are right now, I would hold this truth to be honest. Take a second, please look around all the faces that are with you today, most of which are literally sitting shoulder to shoulder, most of which are going to be donning those white coats with you momentarily on this stage. For those of you who, like myself, have taken the course of coming here feeling as if that you did not meet expectations, whether it's your parents' eyes, whether it's your own motivation, don't worry. You will get there. You will get there, and might there be a chip on your shoulder, and that is going to guide you. That's going to motivate you in times and pull you through different times. And if not you, peers of yours that are sitting around you today. And me personally, this is more personal, if I had to choose, and if I had to do it all over again, and think of who I would rather have in my corner, some admissions counselor at some school that I met for all but 1 hour, or the very people in this room, I would choose us, no doubt about it. And if you don't believe me, keep in touch with me, because I will show you that I'm a man of my word when it comes to that. And I could speak for all the alum that are in this room as well. We are here for you. Keep in touch. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Tobiah, for those inspiring words. And I just want to reiterate, the alumna has grown, and we are definitely here for you if you do need help. You should all feel free to reach out to people locally and beyond locally if you do need help in your futures. And now, St. George's University School of Medicine will now present you with a white coat symbolizing your entry to the profession and your commitment to uphold the duties and trust associated with medicine and medical training. To assist our keynote speaker and myself with coding you, I now invite several faculty to join us on stage. Our coders today include Dr. Harold Barshall, Director of Peabody, Dr. Alina Wade, Assistant Dean of Students, Dr. Anna Cyrus Murden, Assistant Professor, Clinical Skills, Dr. Vahinder Singh, Associate Director, Fleming, Dr. Kathy Yearwood, Director, University Health Services, in recognition of our international enrollment, the Grand Marshal, Dr. Barbara Landon, will call each student by name and state their country of birth. In addition to our faculty coders, myself and Dr. Tobias, we're excited to welcome physician family members who requested to coat their loved ones. Please hold your applause until all the students have been coded, and keep the aisles clear during the duration of the activity.
AJ Hara, British Columbia. Shiryar Mirza, New York. Ami Dayani, Connecticut. Fayez Syed, Ontario. Alia Khan, Ontario. Asad Razak, Pakistan. Anastasia Masley, Kazakhstan. Abshiro Mayo, Minnesota. Unmul Akram, Indiana. Ronak Mehta, coded by his father, Dr. Nick Cruz Mehta of New Jersey. Alina Naritsan, Massachusetts, coded by her mother, Dr. Natalia Naritsan. Simran Anud, California. Blessing Silas, Nigeria. Merle Sapita will be coded by her sister, Dr. Adriana Carcano, Florida. Samuel File, New Mexico. Roy Murillo, Texas. Mara Scribner, Michigan. Fotini Maliaris, Pennsylvania. And Greece. Shalene Gowrie, Trinidad and Tobago. Lungawe Kabasia, Botswana. And AD Ponde, South Africa. A lot of people up there. Hi. Stephen Clements, Florida. John Hattier, Louisiana. Jacob Henson, Tennessee. Nathaniel Grossack, Massachusetts. Lauren Pilars, New Jersey. Shira Rosoff, Ontario. Kaylee Nakata, Colorado. Michaelin Hammond, Saskatchewan, coded by his father, Dr. Cecil Hammond. Thank you. Amanda Nguyen, California. And Kelelo Ndalvu, South Africa. Igor Timofeyev, California. Oliver Llewellyn, United Kingdom. Gia Fontanaza, Maryland, coded by her father, Dr. Daniel Collector, her father-in-law, and Daniel Collector, coded by his father, Dr. Daniel Collector. Give him a minute to find some space here. Amanda Clark, North Carolina. Ulachi Wagu, Illinois. Mohammed Kasalbash, Pakistan. Oh, wait a minute. Is there somebody? Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Nikita Agarwal, Texas. You want me to say India? Darshi Bangera, India. Sunny Corsapati, Texas. And Michael Sposito, New York. Sham Abyad, Syria and USA and Illinois. Mahmoud Hadoud, Egypt. Edward Daniels, Arkansas. Chelsea Amo Twanaboa, New York. Bradley Winoris, Florida.
It's actually China.
J.Y. Song, China. Amrit Dillon, California. Jagneet Kaur, California. And Ashley Schultz, Pennsylvania. Christina Foley, New York. Evstathia Barones, New York. Audrey Baudou, New York. Sheandra Franklin, Florida. Bertusa Martin, Virginia. Anissa Bawa, New York. Myra Arth Ogugwa, Nigeria. Andrea Lorenz, Florida. And Danielle Lombardo, Florida. Chantal Waba, Toronto. Manal Mukhtar, Pakistan. Malina Habib, Missouri. Brooke Bidwell, USA. Tyler Santos, Wisconsin. James Carney, New Jersey. Jason Carvalho, Portugal and USA. Patrick Rowe, North Carolina. Daniel Rosenfeld, New Jersey. Vanessa Moore, Massachusetts. Jessica Holler, Georgia. Troy Elders, Michigan. Jose Valena, Florida. Jeffrey Wilson, Maryland. Navina Tota, Michigan. Alessa Poteris, Illinois. Sydney Smith, North Carolina. And Edward Diaz Gomez, New York. Claudia Serwinski, New Jersey. Sharani Jayaratnu, Georgia. Komal Kumar, Arizona. Yoga Koka, New Jersey. Jacob Hama, New York. Terry Aragon, Utah. Anjali Tota, California, coded by her mother, Dr. Aranada Coca. Thank you. Laura Langholtz, Florida. Bettina Babu, Texas. And Tui Choi, California. Anna Verma, New York. Panida Sharvichapong, Florida. Praise Chinayemblu, Nigeria. Achika Tan, Cambodia. Tawny Kim, California. Jacqueline Nguyen, California. Christina Shah, New Jersey, coded by her aunt, Dr. Arti Shah. Anthony Francis, California. Michael Hanari, coded by his father, Dr. Mahar Hanari, California. Benjamin Happe, New Jersey. Did I say it wrong? Sorry.
If we can make sure to clap after everyone's put their coats on, that would be great.
Dhruvi Patel, Massachusetts. Zachary Onkeo, Texas. Hunhee Sol, Republic of South Korea. Michael Ramnath, Ontario. Chandra Bellinger, Maryland. Michaela Ward, Michigan. Anya Gallahue, California. Laura Tusher, California. Jacqueline Doe, California. Tracy Estrella, Texas and Dominican Republic. Eleonora Vafeas, New Jersey and Greece. Alec Lerner, Florida. Kevin Fuller, Idaho. Anthony Chen Yong Lim, Singapore. Connor Sterling, Pennsylvania. William Howard, Illinois. Joseph Dayrit, New Jersey. William Tyndall, California. John Crane, Massachusetts. Sophia Tam, New York. Dennis Karabach, New Jersey. Amal Ravi, New Jersey. Kaylee Doe, Connecticut, coded by her mother, Dr. Nancy Carol Henson. Elizabeth Fry, Colorado. Radhika Thakar, California. Gina Didana, New Hampshire. Sean Ickelman, Texas, and Alexi Saba, Virginia. Andrew Cermak, Maryland. Seth Bourne Smith, Louisiana. George Fahim, Ontario. Herman Chada, New Jersey. Blessing Prasad, Texas. Edwin Izeku, California. Ifeoluwa Afon, Nigeria. Perpetua Uzebegu, Nigeria. Julian Gasselman, Ontario. Gasamian. Jasmine Gomez, Florida. Liana Baez, Virginia. Priscilla Orellana, California. Stephanie Prasad, New York. Paige Dixon, Ontario. Ivana Sachalotto, Ontario. Shermanda Jean Francois, Florida. Hakop Sarian, California. Shoki Masulam, Arkansas. Prashanthan Ravindran, United Arab Emirates. Samar Hafa, Toronto. Yang, Minnesota. Brian Zotter, New York. Charles Olson, Minnesota. Christopher Kusik, Kansas. Suraj Sharma, India and Ontario. Tony Fagali, New Jersey. Kirandeep Kaur, California. Jonathan Brown, Texas. Carlos Bravo, Cuba. Benjamin Olson, Florida. Samira Zubair, Florida. Catherine Skudlow, Florida. Jennifer Felix, California. Suhail Jafil, Michigan. Caitlin Kidd, Michigan. Kelsey Long, Texas. Samantha Campbell, Michigan. Elias Wassel, California. Boris Sturman, New York. Tomir Muzika, New York. Soshdeep Sandhu, California. Jagal Shim, Georgia. Chris Sani, Texas. Jason Lee, New York. Ignatius Alden, Missouri. Amy Schiffeliti, Arizona. Christy Lay, California. Melanie Espino Conche, California. Yasmin El-Sayed, Pennsylvania. Constantina Costara, New Jersey. Julian DeBellis, Connecticut. Christopher Fitzos, Sacramento, California. Romaldi Telusma, New York. Valentina Grecos, coded by her parents, Dr. Athena Christus and Dr. Zwanos Grecos. Zwanos. Anusha Kishore, Florida. Farah Alarmnazi, Syria and Ohio. Arosa Sardar, Pakistan. Sandeep Sangira, California. Amandeep Sangira, California. Harmanjeet Dhillon, California. Samatha Kusturiarachi, Sri Lanka. Karabo Moroli, Botswana. Liran Yarkoni, New Jersey. Pedram Muri, Iran. Ahmed Kiani, Pakistan. Denny Abujamra, Ontario. Bradley Becker, Wisconsin. Jasmine Alak, Ontario. Pooja Darji, California. Alexandra Cano Cerna, Florida. Aaron Sadigzada, Texas. Thank you. Michelle Nabi, Massachusetts. Safa Aldabiani, California. Eleni Sorzano, Trinidad and Tobago. Regine Russo, New York. Laura Ubnaya, California. Grace Sorbello Sesson, Florida. Bixby Bonterry, California. Henry Bradford, Montana. Jesse Glaspie, California. And Ruel Asuncion, California. Mariam Chaudhry, New Jersey. Eduardo Nevares, Puerto Rico. Odreka Ahmed, New York. Andy Huang, New York. Delwar Khan, New York. Philande Laberchi Deko, Biseng, Cameroon. Rostan Kwakam Sipoa, Cameroon. Sabuchenga, Cameroon. Congratulations.
At this time, I invite the students to stand and recite aloud with me the professional commitment listed in your program. This commitment was written by a student task force in 1995 and has been recited at each of our School of Medicine White Coat ceremonies. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training. Oh, we'll start over. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training as a physician. I acknowledge my responsibility to continue the pursuit of knowledge and understanding until that day when I will cease to be a practicing physician. I am entering training for a noble profession in which my interests must always be subservient to those who may seek my assistance. I must be ever conscious of the value of my fellow health professionals and treat them with respect at all times. My classmates at St. George's University are now my colleagues, and I owe them the same support and encouragement to achieve their goals as I hope to receive from them. I will complete alongside my colleagues and professors with tolerance, compassion, and honesty. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the University Honor Code and to conduct myself with integrity and in an ethical manner at all times henceforth. I shall do all within my power to show in myself an example of all that is honorable and good throughout my medical career. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a physician. May I be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Thank you. Please be seated. On behalf of St. George's University, I would like to thank the Arnold Gold Foundation for the Humanism in Medicine pins placed on each student's white coat. Thank you, students, families, faculty, staff, and administrators, for your support and presence at this ceremony. You are all invited to a reception at the Lewis and Marion Modica Hall. Please remain seated and keep the aisles clear until our students have exited as directed by the ushers. Thank you again for joining us today.